Welcome to Monday Jazz and Conversation, presented by a collaboration of 4 nonprofit organizations: Gold Coast Jazz Society, South Florida Jazz, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and the Miami Jazz Cooperative, all of whom are dedicated to bringing jazz to South Florida audiences. Each Monday, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorta feature the music and talk to the country's most talented and interesting jazz musicians.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Fedchuk to the hang.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
The amazing and beautiful and the world's best person, Brenda Alford.
Hi, Brenda.
Live up to that.
Okay, I got some living to do.
Please welcome to Jazz and Conversation the amazing Joe Donato. Joey D!
Hello.
How are you? I'm so
Good evening,
sad
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
we
This
gave
is
you
Ralph
stress.
Edwards, and tonight, it's Joe Donato. This is your life.
And now, the hosts of Monday Jazz and Conversation, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorta.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the first Monday show in June. Is that correct?
We're in the middle of the year already.
Half a year has gone by. That's just crazy. But we have a fantastic show for you tonight. We're really excited about it. Of course, like I said, I always say that every damn week. It's the same. I'm really excited about the show. But we've got some great, amazing talents here in Florida, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So I wanted to ask you to do me a favor, and if you can share, if you're watching this on Facebook, share this with your people so that we can get it out to as many people as possible. This is, I don't know, it's a very personal, feels like a very personal project that we're going to talk about. And
Absolutely.
so, we want all eyes and ears, as many as possible, to join with us and watch. Anything else we need to talk about before?
Who are our guests tonight?
Is that what we're going to talk about?
I think so.
Okay, we're diving right in.
I think so.
Okay, so the one and only John Daversa and his lifelong friend and collaborator, Justin Morell,
Yep.
have a brand new CD out. And it is inspired by Justin's son, Loren. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful project. It's called All Without Words, Variations Inspired by Loren. And it's the John Daversa Jazz Orchestra featuring Justin Morell. And before we bring them on, we are going to listen to the opening cut called Loren's Theme. And then we're going to learn all about this amazing CD and their friendship and relationship. So here is Loren's Theme.
How beautiful is that?
So amazing. So anyway, let's welcome John Daversa and Justin Morell to the Hang and
Guys.
learn about the CD. Hello.
Welcome.
Hello,
Hey.
Nikki or Wendy.
Good to see you.
So happy to be here.
We are glad to have you. This is such an amazing project, and it's really quite touching and beautiful. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
we really are fascinated by the whole reason for this CD, and we'd love for you to share how this came to be.
Well, first of all, hello. Good to see you all. I know we caught up a moment ago. This is an incredibly special project, and I should preface it by saying that Justin and I have been friends since day one. You know, our families have been friends, you know, before we were born. So we grew up together and played music together and learned a lot of things from each other and at the same time from the world.
Yeah.
And so in the process we've collaborated on a number of projects. I've always played in Justin's band and he's played in my bands, and so it came time for us to do something together. And you know, I've certainly been focused on being really intentional and aware of the sound that I'm making more and more. You know, I feel like there's a great responsibility to be had there to really, you know, music is such a powerful vehicle to convey whatever needs to be expressed. And I don't mean to say that it has to have all these altruistic intentions. It could be, you know, just express anger, express joy, express whatever it is, but be aware of it.
It's certainly an opportunity to you know, create all those emotions and put out whatever it is you want to put out there, which is great.
Yeah, and it's a gift to be able to do so. And so I half jokingly and half not asked Justin if he would consider writing a trumpet concerto for me to play, because I wanted to do something with orchestra. And everything I've done up till now, I've always written. And there's really only one person that I trust to do the writing if I wasn't going to do the writing, and that's Justin. And you know, he had already been thinking about writing something to just to express his experience with his son and his family, and that certainly is in line with both of us to put a spotlight on compassion and awareness for everyone's unique path in this world, and to have no judgment for things that we don't understand or have not experienced ourselves. And I'll let Justin explain the subject material and his relationship with it.
Yeah, I mean, John's right. I wanted to write music to speak to my experience as a parent of not just a child with autism. I mean, my son Loren is 16 now. He's nonverbal. He communicates, you know, pretty simple concepts through an iPad, but really it's just, you know, kind of requesting by way of picture communication, things that, you know, his foods that he wants and things like that. So he has very little, you know, he doesn't have the tools to really express his complex thoughts and feelings and things like that. And so it's been a challenge for us as a family. And I've imagined how he must feel struggling with that. And so, you know, I wanted to write something that spoke to that idea. And, you know, when John said, I had been throwing around a lot of ideas, and when John said, you know, I'd like for you to write me a concerto, you know, I just thought, well, this is like, I mean, how fortunate to write a piece for John to play. And it just seemed like, you know, he's the only person that could really, you know, bring this to life, I think. So, you know, I was trying to find a way to involve my son in composing process in some way, even though he doesn't play an instrument or really intentionally create music. He does make a lot of sounds.
Okay.
And so I recorded on my phone voice recorder at one point. I just recorded some of his vocalizations, and then when I went back and listened to them later, I found two short bits where I thought, this sounds like melody to me, and I
Right.
Wow.
I basically stretched it out and wrote it down, and that became the theme. Those two parts,
Wow.
really.
That's fascinating.
And yeah, it felt like just this incredible gift. And I remember when I first wrote the theme down and kind of put a simple harmonization together, I sent it to John and I played it for my wife, and she said, that doesn't sound like anything that you would ever write.
Wow.
And it just was one of those things where, I really felt connected to him through that process.
Do you notice his, like, a connection with him and music?
He loves music.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he spends a lot of time in our basement in our house. He has a therapy swing that he hangs out on, and there are
Okay.
always 3 sources of music playing at once. Yeah, we have 3 things that play music, and they're all different. And it's one could be playing like Steely Dan, and one's playing John Coltrane, and it's just whatever. And he insists on having all of that going on at once. So he's totally absorbed by it. I don't really understand how he experiences it, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But he has music on constantly.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really, it's so interesting the way every person deals with music and gets it in and then spits it back out. It's
Right.
fascinating for sure. And so John's trumpet is kind of like his voice in the whole CD.
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, certainly in the theme that's true.
Yeah.
And then I think John could speak to how he connected with the part, but certainly it was my idea that in some way this trumpet voice is really the extension of Loren's musical voice.
Yeah. Well, it is so close to the human, range and everything, that I always found the trumpet so much the closest to a human voice,
Right.
of any instrument.
I always just wanted to be a singer. I mean, and yeah, that's all I'm ever trying to do is just sing through
The
that
horn.
tubing,
Yeah.
because I'd really rather sing.
Yeah.
You know,
I might be able to help you with that if you're ever interested.
I'm interested. You got a deal.
There you go. A couple things in this story. I mean, this whole subject is fascinating, but one thing, the idea of someone calling and say, hey, would you write a concerto?
Yeah.
Love that. Just your everyday request. And the other thing is that, it's very common to say, oh, yeah, I've known them forever.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
a matter of fact, here's testimony right there. You
Not
guys
just-
go back a long way.
And not even just that
Yeah.
you've known each other forever, but that you've been making music
Yeah.
with each other.
And the same instruments, by
From-
the way,
with such-
interestingly
Yeah.
enough.
It's
Yes.
amazing.
How old would
doomed
you
from
say
the
you are
start.
there? 5, 6-ish?
5, I bet 4 or 5. I
At
know.
what
You know,
age, what's the age where you're smaller than the instrument you're playing?
yeah,
Whatever that age
exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Exactly. I know, we moved to Oklahoma from Los Angeles when I was 7, so we were, you're probably right. I'd say 5 or 6.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, I don't know what that sounded like,
Yeah.
but we were serious about it.
You look serious.
You look like
for
you're really
sure.
going for it, both of you.
Yeah, independently, I don't think it looks like we were, well, Justin was listening to me. I wasn't listening to anything, doesn't look like.
I love it. So definitely you guys are really, you really do go back a long way. And
We definitely do.
And so, how did your careers and lives intersect throughout all this? Were you, did you move away at some point, or were you always kind of in the same locations, or how'd that work?
Yeah, we've weaved in and out, so both of our fathers. Sorry, I keep bumping the microphone. Would you like to hear that again? That's great. Justin's father is a great, brilliant guitar player and played in the LA studios for many years, amongst other things. And my dad's a a great trumpet player, and he played in the LA studios at the same time. So, so they knew each other, and the dinner parties were all musicians coming over. And talking about how terrible the music business was. Right. And that's what I remember. Right. I remember them complaining about, different aspects of whatever session they were on. And both of our mothers are musicians too. Justin's mom is a really great singer, and they had a lot of success with a group that they had.
Right.
And Justin can tell you more about that. My mom's an incredible musician as well, keyboard player, flute, opera singer, dancer. It's like one of those people that you hate because they do everything well, and it just comes really easy. So we had that experience, and then we moved when I was about 7 years old to where my mom's family's from in Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma, and that's where I feel like I grew up, because that's kind of more what I remember. Right. And when we were there, we moved all over the place. And so Justin and I weren't in touch for those years until we came back to California. We actually moved to Sacramento, California, when I was like 14, 15, something like that. And I remember, I think, Justin, it was your parents' wedding anniversary that my mom and I came down.
That's right.
To be there for it. I don't know why we were there. And I think that's when we reconnected, and it was that day, or the day after, we went into the studio, and we recorded like 6 tunes. Justin sequenced like all these keyboard parts and the drum parts and the bass parts, and wrote all these originals, and we did a couple covers, and I played the parts, and it was all about music. That's really been the basis of our relationship, and then I ended up moving. This is going to go on for like 50 more minutes. Sorry.
The group that you have, is that the album cover that we have, the Daversa and Morell band?
The
is
Damn
that the
Band?
music?
Oh, that was later.
That was later. Okay, we'll get to
college,
that.
Yeah, that's in minute 32. So we moved back down to LA finally for my last couple of years of high school, and then Justin and I went to high school together for those last couple of years at Hamilton High School. And there we played in a band with Micah Elizondo, who's gone on to have just an incredible career as a producer and writer and bassist, and Trevor Lawrence Jr., who was this phenom drummer. We had a quartet, and he's also a producer, writer, and plays with everybody from Alicia Keys to Herbie Hancock, and just an amazing crew of a quartet. And then we both went to college together at UCLA. Justin and I both did, and that's where we had our band there, the Damn Band, the Daversa and Morell band. There it is, and made our first record in '94, right? In 1994 with Sean Guerin and Dave Parmenter, and all originals, on the record, and then I played in Justin's bands, and we were there, and we actually had a real recording studio for a while together. We made a lot of music together.
Look at you young guys here. Look
at this. Wow. Check that out.
Mm-hmm. You haven't changed a bit, either one of you.
Yeah, so badass. You can tell by the tie and the turtleneck how badass we were.
Yeah. You guys are trouble.
Definitely.
I love it.
Yeah. But then, we kept interweaving. Justin moved up to the Bay Area. I went to Europe for a few years. Mm-hmm. Back to LA. He was in Atlanta. Then now he's up in Pennsylvania, and I'm in Miami. But we keep finding excuses to make music together, because there's really no choice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, it must have been. Was this a fun project? Musically for you? I know obviously it's intense and emotional and all that, but was it an enjoyable challenge, Justin?
For me, it was a very rewarding project, for sure. I was fortunate, because right around the time that I was basically set to write the piece, I had a sabbatical for my teaching gig. So, and it was December before COVID hit and everything like that, when I really sat down to try to write, and it was just a really there were horrible things going on, obviously, but just for me creatively, it was a fantastic time, because there was nothing going on other than just being at home with family and writing. And so I just sort of took the opportunity to try to enjoy every minute of it. It's the first time really I've had that kind of experience. And it was very challenging. I mean, it was definitely the largest single project that I've composed, but it felt like I knew the payoff was going to be worth it, you know. And knowing that John was going to play it, and feeling like I just had complete trust in the person that was going to be realizing it,
Sure.
it just made me feel like, well, I'm just going to write what I think is going to sound good, and I know I'm going to give it to John. He's going to turn it into magic. So all of that was really great.
Most definitely. Let's. How about we listen to another track from it? This is the third track in the on the record, and it's called "Two Steps Forward." Want to tell us about the title?
Sure. Yeah. My son, you know, he has a lot of learning challenges. I mean, and in a lot of cases, sometimes he learns things and he'll know it for sure, and then a week or a month or 6 months later, it seems like doesn't know it anymore. And that's not necessarily about autism so much as it is just about other issues that he may have. And so a lot of times we feel like, you know, we learn things and then we kind of unlearn them a little bit and take a few steps back and then make a couple steps forward. And so, you know, it's really just speaks to that process.
Interesting. Question for you: did you have the title before you worked on the song, or was it a result of the composition?
In some cases, they sort of worked from different angles. You know, sometimes I would have I sketched over the course of several months. I kind of made little sketches in a notebook, and these kind of images and titles and ideas came to me throughout different points in the composition process. Yeah. So some of them are a little bit more directly related to the musical composition in some ways, and some of them are more just about the sensation or the feeling I have.
Got it. This is Two Steps Forward. Yeah.
Ooh, that is some amazing writing. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Impressed. It's just gorgeous and elegant and everything that you'd want to hear.
Justin Morell, ladies and gentlemen.
And kudos.
really
and
beautiful.
John, beautiful playing, as always.
Thank you.
We had a question about Rick wanted to know how the album was recorded. Was it together during the pandemic, or was it put together from individual recordings by one of those virtual things?
Hey, Rick. It's the worst time to try and do a large orchestral work
Yeah.
and record it. We did this in the most creative way we could. We did the best that we could to try and do this. So we did it in sections. I knew that we had to do this now. There was just no waiting to do it. It was ready to be done. So we did our best. So we did it in sections where we did the rhythm section first, and Justin created mock-ups so we could hear mock-up strings and mock-up woodwinds and a click, so we could all be on the grid together. So it's David Shiverton playing drums, and Tal Cohen playing piano, and Dion Kerr playing bass. And so we did all the rhythm section and the trumpet stuff over a few days, 2 or 3 days, I can't remember now. And so they were reacting to the orchestra parts on mock-ups. So it wasn't, the energy wasn't there, but they could at least react to something. And I just want to give kudos to those rhythm section players too, because
we have some pictures here to
oh yeah, maybe that'll
bring
illustrate.
in here for sure.
Because they really glued. I mean, when you have something that's so written and so fixed, as Shiv, it's you really need those interaction people that can
Right.
bridge everything together.
And then here we have
Yeah, it's tall.
Dion's in the back there.
Yeah.
On the booth.
In the booth.
Yeah.
So then after we went to that guy right there, Tal Cohen.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good.
He is not bad.
So then after that we had another session with all the strings, and Scott Flavin was the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
And you would recognize everybody that played. It's Abby Young was the concert master, and Brian Powell was playing bass. These amazing musicians.
Yeah.
So we had 19 people in the string orchestra distanced out like that on the concert stage, and then we overtracked them. We overdubbed the different layers twice. Most of it is all twice. And then we had another session with all the woodwinds. And Troy Roberts is playing soprano, and Melvin
Nice.
Butler, and Jennifer Grimm, and Alyssa Mena, and Rick Todd's playing horn. All stars in there.
All the guys.
Yeah, I just want to mention, everybody. The thing that was so touching for me was that, everybody jumped in to wanting to be a part of this project, because it seems that everyone is touched in some way or another, a family member, a really dear friend, with someone who's on the spectrum of autism. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to be there for what the cause was and for the
Right.
strength of the music. And so, we did it the very first week of January, something like that, first week or two.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also a choir. Kate Reed's, singing in the
Yeah.
in the choir, and Amanda Quist
And a day
organized.
of percussion too.
And a day of percussion. So we layered these things all in, and just did our best to make it feel as organic as possible under the circumstances.
Here's a couple of other shots, just some great photos from the
Milcho,
section.
photo by
Yeah,
Milcho.
took
Oh,
those.
she's great.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Very, very nice stuff.
And so she took. There are actually going to be videos for every track.
Oh, great.
Oh, good.
With because she was there on all of the sessions to grab footage, and so she's putting together music videos for each track that is going to be featuring a collaboration with a visual artist that created artwork to the music itself. And before every track, there's Justin being interviewed talking about what
that's great.
what that title is about.
Yeah, fantastic. So how long did the project take from beginning to end?
The recording process?
Yes.
Well,
Justin, what was it?
We did the rhythm section in the beginning of December, and I think we were done doing the actual tracking after a week into January, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we spent about, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks after that mixing, mastering, editing, that kind of stuff. So I mean, it was done mid-February pretty much. Like.
And
ready
you
to-
started writing it, you said, when?
Yeah, I started writing it. I mean, I really started composing it out, I would say, like right around the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. End of
Okay.
December, early January. You know, I had sketched little ideas and things like that over the course of 6 or 7 months. You know, every time I had 5 minutes, I'd sit down and write something down, you know. So when I sat down to compose, I had a million little scraps of paper and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty much like a solid year or so of, you know, just barreling through.
Yeah.
Okay, so for anybody who's interested in physical copies, I know we can get that at your site, right, John?
JohnDaversa.com.
Yes, that's the place to do it at my website, and you know, I'll sign it, or if you want Justin to sign it, there's a little place you can say, you know what you would, how would you like it to be dedicated. Love to get a copy to you, of course, and support the project.
Okay, and then there is a site just for the project. Oh, look at
There's
that!
the
Check that
physical
out.
copy. Woo!
Yeah, that's a sweet. Every time we have people, you know, that are promoting physical CDs, I have to say that I'm one of those guys that I will take that over digital any day. I want that thing in my hand. I want to open it up. I want to read the liner notes. I want to see who was playing on it, where it was recorded, when it was recorded, all that information. There's something about having the physical copy.
It's retro.
I know. So in other words, I'm old.
That's
No,
what
it's really interesting. The previous record, I think we talked about it before, the Quarantena with Family at Home. I just did a digital release, and I got several requests to want the physical copy on that record, and I still may do that. So with this one, I knew we had to do physical again.
For sure. And if they want to find out more about the whole project, there's this site, right?
Yes.
allwithoutwords.org.
And what are you going to find there? Just
You will find photos of the musicians. You'll find, I think most important, you'll find links to the work of the many visual artists that have collaborated with us. Several amazing artists that we found through a great organization in California called The Art of Autism.
okay.
We worked with several autistic artists, and they created these different visual works in response to, listening to the music.
We have a couple.
We have
I think.
several here to look at,
Yeah.
and they are beautiful. This one here is by Sidney Edmond, and it says it's inspired by Loren's theme.
Right.
And
She has very, my understanding is she has very limited kind of motor control over her hand. So all of her work is very pointillistic like that. She
Right.
sort of works very slowly in a certain area and fills out a certain color and then moves on. She's really fantastic, and
Yeah.
really quite a great poet too.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow. And then I'll let you pronounce the name. Inspired
That's
by
Ryan Smolik. I think that's how he pronounces it anyway.
Small. Okay.
I have-
And this was
yeah.
inspired by Two Steps Forward, which we just listened to.
And he's creating a separate piece for every movement of
Oh, wow.
for every movement of the piece. He's creating 12 individual new works.
Oh, that's fantastic.
This is really beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? And then the last one we have to show is Joel Anderson.
Three roads diverged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the first one that anybody created for the project.
Wow, that is really something else. And of course, the album cover itself is you used a painting.
That's right. This is actually, it's a digital image by an artist named Angela Weddle, who lives in Texas. And I think her primary medium these days is, she works digitally with an iPad.
Okay.
And she's absolutely amazing, I think. She has a site where you can see a whole bunch of different images, and I just love her work. It's so vibrant and colorful and energized, really.
That's
Just beautiful.
fantastic.
And you can see all the artists' websites on allwithoutwords.org.
That's right.
Justin's got all the links there.
Let's put that up again. So All Without Words, and you'll get all this. And then, so obviously, the other works are in progress. The other paintings are going to be added to the site.
Yeah, we add them as we're going, and really we're hoping that people will get to know these artists and purchase some of their work or support them in some way.
Yeah.
Spread the word, because that's how they're making their livings, by doing that stuff. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is an amazing project that you guys are doing, for sure. And let's see. Let's get to the third track that we're going to hear, which is the urgency of every moment. And since we know that there's a story behind every title, feel free.
Yeah. Well, when my son was diagnosed with autism when he was 2.5 years old, and when you're a parent and your child is diagnosed with autism, you start to get a lot of advice from people, and you also start to, people are telling you, well, if you don't start to work on developing language skills and communication, all these kind of things, if you don't do them now, then you're going to miss the window. And so you feel this incredible pressure to do and try everything that you possibly can.
Right.
And I'm telling you, we tried everything that we could get our hands on to try to get my son's verbal language happening
Right.
and stuff. And so really this is about that. It's about that kind of urgency, that pressure.
Wow, great.
Okay, so this is the urgency of every moment. outstanding.
We had some, Errol Rakopov said, somehow I see another Grammy next year. Remember, you heard it first. And I was thinking the same thing. This is just really something special.
Hey,
That solo
Errol.
gets me every time.
It's really,
That is,
So
you know what
good.
I was thinking is that's a long damn solo.
It is long, yeah. But
it
it's
didn't
so
feel
good.
long. It doesn't feel long.
Yeah,
That's a testament.
it's
I
amazing.
appreciate it.
Not at all. I forgot to play when we're talking about the younger.
John
You know
and-
what? Actually, I think it's a bit of a problem. I'm gonna have to get to that after we hear the next song, because it was not it
What
was
did you
not
do? What did you do?
I deleted all the skeletons.
no. I have to transfer the video to an MP4, which I will do, convert it rather. But I'll do that while we're listening to the other song, because we have a 1990s clip of the two of you guys playing together. I'm not sure. As I hear you guys speaking, I'm not sure that you knew what was going to be given for the show. So I feel like we're definitely springing some surprises on somebody, springing something on somebody. Yeah.
You know, Justin and I were talking. Evidently, they've got hordes and hordes of old videotapes of us playing. So that's dangerous to know that stuff exists somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's for another show.
Might not
no.
exist for
No.
long if I have my if I have my way.
No. Justin, we have not really heard much about your inspiration and your influences.
We're bored with John now. We want to know about
We
you.
know everything about him, but no, because you're such an accomplished musician. Obviously, we're hearing that on full display here. But you're a guitarist, and you started obviously very young. So how did
Right.
that happen for you, and what got you into the music bug?
Where have
Because
you
I know
been?
had
Where have you
musical
been all
parents.
our lives? Is what he's trying to
That's what I'm
ask.
trying to say. Damn it!
can-
Tell me
Can
all
you
about
play?
it.
Can you play a little bit of Yo Man Fred for them so they can hear your first song?
Oh
Just the
And
title.
I really admire that attempt, though, John. That was very.
Can you find a guitar anywhere?
no, it's in the wrong key.
He
It's
doesn't
not
have
in a
enough
guitar
guitars.
key.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, my family is, I mean, as we were talking earlier, my whole family background is music. My dad is a great guitar player. His dad was a guitar player in the studios. His dad was a guitar player. My uncle's a great guitar player, used to work in the studios. My grandfather on my mom's side was a really wonderful songwriter who wrote You've Changed and We'll Be Together Again.
Oh
and
my
Started All Over
gosh.
Again. And my aunt, my mom's sister, was a fantastic jazz singer, so I just was surrounded by it. I just basically, wanted to play guitar because I just wanted to make music. And, I listened to music, played music as best I could, and just kept doing it all the time. And, at some point, I mean, I grew up around my dad, who's a great guitar player, but also a writer and composer and jazz writer, and he was always writing stuff. So for me, that was kind of what you did as a musician.
Right.
You played an instrument and you wrote music, and especially for yourself, you play your own music. You don't just play covers. That was my understanding. And so I started trying to do that, and I think I must have been maybe 11 or 12 at one point, and I found a copy of The Rite of Spring in the record collection and checked that out, and I said, this is insane. But first of all,
music.
I mean, I didn't understand any of it, but I just loved it, And so that was when I first started to get an idea that, there's a lot of stuff out there to explore.
Right.
And I didn't really, I studied some composition in college, undergraduate, and it really wasn't until I went to get my master's when I was, about 30 years old, when I kind of got up the nerve to start writing more kind of concert music, longer form kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so, and just spent a lot of time gigging, playing guitar, and writing for jazz groups. And John played in pretty much any band that I had. I had a trio for a while just because I thought I had to learn how to not have to have John play all my parts. I needed to learn how to do it on my own, and
Your
that lasted
security
like 5
blanket.
minutes.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise I just try to stay busy, and yeah, that's kind of where it comes from.
Yeah, I can imagine going from writing for small groups to doing something so, like, an orchestral piece seems so serious and it feels so, like, daunting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine.
Well, and I never really thought of myself, and I still don't, I guess, think of myself as an orchestral composer. But when I did my doctorate, my dissertation was a symphony. I wrote a 6-movement symphony, and it was a huge undertaking. And of course,
Yeah.
I never really heard any of it played.
Wow.
Because how do you get an orchestra together to just play your piece for free?
Right.
I mean, it's not something that you can do, very easily. So.
Yeah.
So, when you have an opportunity to write for a large ensemble and somebody says, yeah, we're going to do this, then suddenly, it's a wonderful chance to really explore all that stuff. And so
Yeah, it
it
doesn't
was fun
sound
to
the same
finally.
when Finale is playing it back for you.
Oh,
or,
horrible.
Right.
It's horrible, but also, it's a necessary evil sometimes, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's. Why don't you think of yourself as a classical composer or symphonic composer if that's what you're doing? Is it just an insecurity thing or volume?
No. Well,
what would make you say this is, or is it just not what you always do?
It's not what I always do. I mean, I certainly would like to do more of it, but I just think, I think really great orchestral composers tend to be people that conduct and stand in front of orchestras day after day after day, and they
Right.
know how an orchestra works the way that I feel when I play in a big band, and I just know
Okay.
exactly what every part is doing. So if I'm writing for a big band, I feel like, I know what these people do all the time. I know what a lead trombone part is supposed to look like and sound like, things like that. But if you don't do orchestral music all the time, it's just a lot more thinking that has to go into it. You just have to be so careful about every step that you take and make sure that you're really, planning ahead and trying to consider all the things that I think for orchestral composers comes really naturally.
Got it.
Yeah.
Have you done any movie work?
No, I haven't. No.
Does that interest you at all?
I certainly wouldn't turn it down. I just don't know that I'm fast enough. I mean, I think
Right.
if I had to churn something out really quickly, I could do it, but I don't know that I would be able to live with whatever I would come up with that quickly.
You would be awesome, and you could live with the check. So do it.
The check would be good. And I mean, I would, like, if somebody said I have this project and let's collaborate or something like that, I would say absolutely, I'd love to do that. But the idea of kind of working in the film music business always seemed like something that I wasn't
Right.
entirely in line with.
Got it.
You have to recognize what your strengths and weaknesses are, I think, at some point.
Right.
And I kind of feel like, I sort of belong over here.
And like most people, musicians, you're very critical, self-critical.
Oh,
Would you say?
yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, I spend an hour trying to decide every single note, so.
Right.
But, that's just my pace, that's just how I do it.
Got it. Well, surprise, surprise, we do have that 1990s video clip up and ready to go. So
Yeah, there he goes.
I see you, John. You can't hide. Here it comes. Oh boy.
I like that somebody was filming from the TV.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You can tell that melody was not written by a trumpet player. Get from the lowest note to the highest note in 0.002 seconds. That's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But you did it. Damn it.
But he did it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Okay. So the next song, I believe we're on "Walking in Our Own Footsteps." And story.
Yeah. This is my son. His learning process a lot of times involves a lot of repetition, and sometimes even like kind of walking through a process several times until it becomes almost like habit. So this movement is kind of about that idea of, kind of circling back over the same thing several times until it becomes, feeling natural. And the movement itself is kind of a little bit of a palindrome where it sort of plays forward for the first little bit, and then at a certain point it kind of starts to reverse itself.
Oh, cool.
And not the melody so much, but what's going on under the melody.
Okay.
Very
Walking
nice.
in our own footsteps. Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with people are blown away by the music and the whole concept and the reason behind it. That was Three Roads Diverged.
No, that was walking in our own footsteps.
I'm sorry. I was walking in our own footsteps. I was going to go into
You were
three.
gonna
Wasn't
go.
I?
Yeah, you were.
Oh wow! I had one thing to do. I had one thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, and guess what? I didn't do.
But tell us about three.
Yeah. So now that we're here, the next song
Sure.
is Three Roads Diverged.
Yeah, Three Roads Diverged. It's it's a play on the famous line from the Robert Frost poem.
Right.
And it's about when you find yourself in that place of you have a child who is autistic, and you discover you're on a road that, not even two roads, but a third road that you never even knew was there, that was never even possible, really. It's about just confronting in a whole new world that is something that you just really can't quite understand until you're there. So that's
Right.
what the title means.
All right.
Right.
This whole issue of autism and everything, is this just a sort of, you find out as it happens? I mean, are there...
Well, in our case, what happened is, our son, Loren was a pretty typical kid until he was about 2 years old, and then his language was developing slower than one might expect. And we started getting some help. We had somebody come by the house for like an hour a week to help work on language skills and things like that with us. But there's a point at which, you get far enough down the line and those things are not developing, and you sort of are like, well, at this point, it becomes something more significant. And that's when you receive a diagnosis. And every case is totally different. That's our
There's a
experience.
wide spectrum, right?
I was gonna ask about. I
Yeah.
mean, does anybody really know why?
As far as I know,
How,
no.
why? Yeah.
No. And, as parents, you ask yourself those questions quite a lot.
Exactly.
I think most of us do. But I always want to be very careful just to say that in no way am I trying to speak on behalf of people that are autistic or other families who have different experiences. This is really just about my experience with my son. And so,
Right.
Sure.
and autism means so many different things. And there are people who are autistic that are, have incredible language skills, and
Right.
people that are nonverbal. There's a whole
Yeah.
range of different things. And so, it's just a very unique kind of thing, very individual thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's listen to Three Roads Diverged.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh. Wow.
The
That's-
writing, I mean, every tune we're listening to, we're just like, wow,
I
this
know.
is some
This
seriously
is going to be
good
part of my
writing.
collection. This is a physical CD that I'm going to have.
You are gonna have it.
I'm gonna
Okay.
own it.
We know where you
Yeah.
can you
Yeah,
can get
I
it.
know, yeah.
We need to
Get you
put
a
that back
copy.
on.
Look, right there.
JohnDaversa.com. You
I
just
tried
need
to put it through the screen.
Oh, yeah, it's not coming through. It's one of those glitches. That is wonderful, wonderful stuff. Justin, where in Pennsylvania are you?
I'm in Hershey,
Oh, no kidding.
chocolate land,
Hershey Park,
the sweetest
baby,
place
yeah.
on earth.
Yeah, my mom's born in Pennsylvania, Reading.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
close.
My brother was as well. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So maybe might have to drop on in for a visit when you least
Yeah.
expect there'll be a knock on your door.
Yeah, come on by.
How did you end up there?
Came here for a teaching gig. I teach at a grade school called Lebanon Valley College, which is about 20 minutes away from where I live. And yeah, moved here about 8 years ago or so.
Nice,
Yeah.
cool. And you like it? I mean, I know it's a gig,
Yeah.
but do you like being there?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's really it's kind of an ideal place for us as a family, especially because we can live a pretty comfortable life here and a pretty quiet life, which I think is pretty good for our son.
Yeah.
I mean, having lived a lot of my life in big cities, it's the idea of doing that again with our family seems challenging. Not that we wouldn't be open to it, but it just is. There's a kind of a comfort and a relaxation that you get in a place like this.
Do you have other kids?
No, just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And John, what's going on with you now? Now it looks like things are finally, getting better with COVID and everything.
the
I know your teaching
vaccinations
gig has been there the whole time, which is lovely. Are you going to be doing live? Do you do a lot of live playing? Do you like to do that, or do you feel like with the school thing, it's and recording and all the things you do, that's kind of sufficient?
No, I mean I love doing everything, which is really something to evaluate because I.
Do you do the
I
whole
really-
tour thing? The
Well,
festivals and that
it's
kind of
just
thing?
it's just to tour is difficult, but I travel. Usually, I'm out a couple times a month for just short little trips to play this little thing and play that little thing.
A guest artist type of thing.
As well, yeah. And I come back and so since I've moved here to Miami, I've had I'm kind of traveling, and then my hub, of course, is the job at Frost, and
Right.
and then trying to spend as much time with my family as I can because I'm away so much doing these other things. But it's been great. I mean, I've been able to do a lot of really
You've been busy.
creative things that fill my soul and that I feel is of service, to the world. Something I've been so blessed and have received so many gifts in this life,
Right.
and so especially now, it's more and more important for me to be able to serve whatever I'm going to do. I want it to be a service
Right.
to those that would like to receive anything that I can offer.
Right.
So, and and part of that is education,
That is true.
through what I have to offer and what I do. I'm trying to create all these online education platforms right now, and as well as being here at Frost, and that allows me, and the students inspire me too. It's
Right.
It's both ways. They come in with music, and it's like, oh, I never even thought about that, and
Yeah.
it makes me think about things differently and inspire me to
Of course.
create different things. So,
Yeah.
but there's always, I'm always wanting to do something more, something next, something
Right.
more. More is not the right word, but just
The
deeper.
next thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's any chance of this material being played?
It's happening.
Is
So tell us about it.
The Henry Mancini Institute's going to perform it in the fall in October.
Wow.
nice.
Well, I will
Yeah.
mark my calendars. I will definitely
Yeah.
want to see that.
So I'm so thrilled about that. Scott Flavin's going to conduct, and Maria Schneider is involved with organizing some of the creative ideas. And
Right.
I mean, she's been a
congratulations.
proponent of making this all work to perform it live. Oh, I'm scared to death to do it, but it'll be amazing.
Why?
To play all those trumpet parts live. That'll be a test.
Yeah.
You know what? So in my mind, you just did everything in one take. Are you telling me that's not true?
Well, there was like a moment of rest in between each take for sure.
Well, it was one take or another, you know.
You know, it's the endurance to go through the 73 minutes.
That's true when you're thinking about it that way. Yeah.
But I'm lifting weights over here. I'm starting to get ready.
Yeah.
You know, did you ever see Rocky IV?
It's been a while.
You know, where
That
Rocky
came
goes
out
up into
just
the
a couple
woods?
years ago.
Yeah. He goes up into the woods and lifts logs and
That's you.
drinks the snow. Yeah.
Making tree trumpets.
Yeah.
Justin, would you be down for some of those?
Yeah. Are you going to come down for that?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. I
That's-
think
that's
I might
fantastic.
even play. You know, so,
Oh, yeah?
Ooh.
yeah.
Well, that'd be
And there are guitars in the piece. They're sort of in the background for the most part, but yeah, I play a part, sure.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Do you feel that this needs to be played in its entirety, or do you feel like you could extract some things like we've kind of been doing here and perform them that way?
Well, it's certainly. I mean, the piece was definitely conceived to be heard start to finish.
Right.
But you know, it's not realistic to listen to that much music, you know, in one sitting for most human beings that live in the year 2021.
What kind of lightweights are they?
Really?
But you know, I mean, that's the thing that I think is so wonderful about the idea of a live performance is that, you know, there's just nothing like the kind of attention that you can give to, you know, an experience when you're in a room with people.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really hard to do, obviously, for a recording, just because we're so distracted by our daily lives. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, we've had this discussion. It seems to be popping up more and more about pros and cons of the way technology is advanced. What are the good things? But is
Yeah.
it doing? You know, are our attention spans lesser? Are they greater?
Right.
It's hard to tell though. You know, because you know, there's a case to be made for, well, the fact that everything's accessible, you take it for granted and you don't sort of go for it.
Do it.
But it seems that there are other people that it's just like kid in a candy store. It's like,
Yeah.
I have access, and they're going to find it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, you know, I recognize that I think there are things that we lose through the kind of technology that we have, but I would not go back to what things were like before.
Right.
I mean, whether it's for creating music or listening to music or accessing literature or, you know, anytime I'm doing research, I think, God, I used to go into a library with a card catalog.
Exactly.
And I mean, just the amount of stuff that we can get to understand and experiences, I would not trade that for anything.
I think about, you know, when I was at U of M, you know, when this was in, you know, mid 80s, you know, we didn't have the internet, and to get any kind of music, we had to go to the music, you know, the listening library, or you had to buy it, or
And put on those heavy
And put
plastic
on-
earphones. Yeah.
and see if you could. There was a way you could like surreptitiously record it, so
That's
you could
right.
have it, you know, a little
Yeah.
cassette, you know. But yeah, and we listen, and that the thing was is that we did sit and listen to the whole thing from start to finish. You know, and we actually even had to turn it over, and
Yeah.
you know, it was a whole experience, which is
Right.
and looking at and actually just having that thing, we just staring at the album cover and looking who was on it, and it really is such a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's another case of the tool itself is not the issue, it's how you use it. right?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and I still think back to the days of recording on tape, and I do miss the idea that, you know, you had one master,
yeah,
and you didn't get to do 20 takes because you had to erase the previous one to get to
Exactly.
the next one. So you had to
20.
make a decision, you know, whereas now it's sort of like, well, let's do 20 of them and then we'll make a decision later.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you got 20 hours worth of material to listen to. So, yeah,
yeah.
different world for sure.
Yeah, true. Well, John, I could hear you, man. I hear you. I'm going to take his silence as tacit endorsement of what I'm saying is right.
Total agreement.
No, I don't know. Total agreement, yes.
No, it's a common discussion, an important one. I remember reading an article about there's a gentleman named Jerry Buss that was the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers years ago, and I think it was his. This is quite a tangent. You ready for this?
Yeah.
It was his idea to take the games and televise them. You know, he's one of the first franchises to do that, and everybody said, "Why would you do that? Then nobody will go to the games."
Right.
But of course, it had the opposite effect. It created a huge fan base, and then more people wanted to come to the games. So, I mean, it's always. I think you said it right. You know, it's not the tools; it's how you use them.
Right.
But it is a cultural shift too. You know, like you were saying, Wendy. You know, the albums. You know, like taking that album and like reading
oh my gosh, absolutely.
And staring at the picture forever.
Staring at him, yeah,
You really,
absolutely.
It becomes such an iconic thing in your brain. But what are you going to do?
Right. I'm actually impressed that has kind of it's become a thing now. Vinyl
Yeah, the
is
vinyl
kind
has
of coming back.
come back a
Obviously,
little bit.
not to the extent that we had it, but that there must be something about it. Maybe this generation is discovering that it's a novelty for them, to
Right.
be sure. But
Well, and there are recording studios that specialize in creating just analog
Right.
records, right? And they only use analog gear, and you can
Right.
only use tape, and you do it, it's done, they press the vinyl, and you're out. And you only sell, 500 copies.
Right.
And it becomes this exclusive thing. And I've actually thought about doing a record like that soon. I think it'd be fun to do it like that,
Yeah.
especially a jazz record.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
sure, that's great. We will come back to say goodnight to the both of you. We have one more song to listen to, but before anything, we just want to let both of you know that how wonderful this project has been. I mean, I'm listening to this stuff for the first time. I wanted it to hit me directly without any kind of preconceptions, and it is. I have to listen to the other 6 tracks now.
Yeah.
Because it is just absolutely gorgeous. Your composing and orchestration is marvelous. John, your playing
execution.
is sublime as always, and the whole story behind it seems like a very special thing. And thank you so much for sharing that with all of us.
Yeah.
So extraordinarily grateful for your support and for sharing this with everybody and having us here to discuss it. It really is, it's really a nice privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an incredible honor to be on the show and for you to supply this platform for the community. And I want the world to hear Justin's music. So thank you for spreading that. And the bigger picture here is just for us all to remember and stay in check as we see everybody's individual journey in this life. Everybody's going through different
Right.
things,
Yeah.
and just to honor all those gifts and challenges as just part of humanity. That's what this record's about for me.
Right.
Absolutely.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about what learning simply to be is?
Yeah, it's about being in the moment. One of the things that's a constant challenge for me, just as an individual, and especially as a parent, is just learning how to appreciate each moment, appreciate the good moments when they happen. And so, we're constantly practicing that. I think we all are to some extent. And so that's what this movement is about.
Great. Well, here it is, learning simply to be. So
Love it.
beautiful.
Love it.
Great.
Congratulations on an amazing project. Again,
You can
I'm going to go here after the show's over and buy my physical
You
copy.
can get your physical CD at www.johndaversa.com, and you can find out everything you need to know about it at allwithoutwords.org. You can see the artwork and learn all about, see pictures and
The session work and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks, John. Thank you,
and let everybody
Justin.
know that was just half of the CD. There's
Yeah.
still like a whole other half.
Listen, this is really, and obviously it's meant to be heard from beginning to end. It is a journey, just like life is, and you know, the amazing experiences, and it reflects a different, you know, element of that journey. And, you know, it's obviously what we heard is just so beautiful. I can't wait to hear it from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
You
Thank
too,
you
Rock.
so much.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Wendy.
It
An
was
honor to be here.
absolute pleasure having both of you.
And we look so forward to seeing you in October, right? I really am excited about seeing the concert. So.
Yeah.
It may be on my birthday.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, top of October.
Oh,
We'll see.
Okay.
even better. Well, we'll keep that will be posted on your site as well. The developments on that concert.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, you know, keep an eye on both those sites that we showed on screen. And for those of you living here, or if you want to fly in because
That's
you'll
right.
be able to go do it soon,
That's right.
that's going to be a concert worth watching. And Justin, I hope to meet you then.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah, I hope so.
In person, live and in person.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Justin Morell and John Daversa, everyone. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Wow, it's fantastic.
Couldn't have been better.
Want to let you know what's coming up, and also thank our amazing sponsors that not sponsors, I always say sponsors, but partners that we do this with every week. SunshineJazz.org. And they, are they doing do we know
I
about
believe
the
they
Sunday
still
brunch?
have the
Do I have the
Sunday
Sunday
brunch
brunch?
I guess we can show that. I
Yeah,
think it's still
let's see
going
it
on.
because that's...
Sunshine Jazz Organization is proud to be presenting world-renowned steel pan maestro Othello Molino at weekly Sunday Jazz Brunch from noon to 3 p.m. at KC Healthy Cooking, located on a spacious outdoor patio at 1900 Biscayne Boulevard, serving an excellent gourmet Caribbean menu and great jazz, led by Lloyd Hawkins and Ted McDermott. As Alice Day would say, hope to see your face in the place.
All right. So we've got also our wonderful partner, the Gold Coast Jazz Society at goldcoastjazz.org. And I know they've got they usually are doing their Sunday jams with the students.
Right.
I now I can't remember if it was the third Sunday of the month or the fourth Sunday of the month, but we need to get flyers for that.
But they
So
have they can find out on
But
the
you
site.
absolutely go to goldcoastjazz.org and you can find out, because that's in Fort Lauderdale if you live in Broward, and it's really fantastic. We also have South Florida Jazz, and you can find them at southfloridajazz.org, and of course the Miami Jazz Cooperative at miamijazz.org. All of them are responsible for doing this every Monday night, and we are so grateful for them and for you who watch us every Monday night, because this has been definitely a labor of love, and you know, we've learned so much, and we've really enjoyed getting to know everybody better, because that's what it seems to have been, not just music, but you know, getting to know people, which getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Coming up next week, the amazing and hysterical and fantastic Pete Barbuti.
That's right.
I keep saying Barbuti, and I know it's Barbuti. I'm kind of stunned that we're going to be speaking to him, because I grew up watching him on the Tonight Show, and I've been learning a little bit about him this last couple weeks, and how many instruments he plays, and how just fantastically hysterical he is.
Right.
So
Isn't that funny? He's one of those guys that he's a real great musician.
Yeah.
But you remember
Oh my
that sort of
gosh.
sneaky kind of, you know, deadpan humor of his,
Yeah.
and
So we're really excited about learning more about him and hearing about him. And then after that, on June 21st, we have Tim Jago and Troy Roberts, and they will be playing live, but talking to us about their brand new CD. Is it called Just Friends? Or is it?
I'm not sure.
It's something about friends. I feel like it's just friends, but and I keep saying a lot about it because they've been promoting the hell out of it, which is fantastic. That's what we all need to do better, for sure. But they will be playing live, and I'm really excited about them because they are both just great individuals and amazing musicians, and so that should be a lot of fun. So lots to look forward to in June.
Yep.
We hope to see you soon, and be safe. And we'll see you next time.
Good night.